Hello and welcome for another episode of Rate That Full Art Supporter. And today we got a little different one in the sense that I don't think this one was very popular when it was played competitively, if even played really competitively. Correct me if I was wrong. There might be some fringe scenarios for this one, but I'll be happy to hear that from you guys. So with that said, who is it I'm talking about? I'm talking about Iris, namely. So first, let's start with what does it do? And well, Iris is a little more complicated than just to say Juniper, discard your hand, draw 7. No, because this time we have to look at during this turn, your Pokemon's attack do 10 more damage to the active Pokemon for each prize card your opponent has taken. Well, what does that actually mean? Well, that simply just means that the further down the game, and the closer your opponent is in winning, the stronger this card becomes, the more damage you can actually add, up to a cap of 50 under normal circumstances. So if your opponent misses one prize, it can deal up to an additional 50 damage, which can be very clutch for taking that final KO that can seal the game in your favor. But of course, compared to draw, this might be a little more harder to use, but it definitely could see some play in the sense of being a one-off in certain decks. But you know what, I would like to hear that from you guys. But let's get into it today and let's see what about Iris around the world. And finally, we have something where everybody agree. Okay, almost everybody agree, because Germany wanted to do a little different and call her Lilia. Not that I mind the name, but couldn't we just agree everybody for once? But not today. We better wait for another one for that one. So, yeah, Iris, everybody except for Germany, they want to be a little different. Which is fine, everybody their own, but hey, that's the scenario we got today. And with that said, let's look into the scores that you guys gave for Iris, starting with standard. And remember, we're going from a grade scale from 1 to 5, 5 being bad and 5 being great. And now we think about standard, that is at the time where Iris was, well, legal for standard play. And we got a little all over the place, except that we have nobody who thinks it's really great. And the highest, well, frequency here finds it 3 to be an okay card. Indeed, because I assume the people who voted 3 seems that it's as good as a one-off as some decks, as a clutch tech. But most of the people just gave it a very low score because, well, otherwise the usability of a card in standard was a little meh. Which results in an average grade of 2.42. Not the worst, but definitely not very impressive when you think about it. That leaves us now for expanded. And now, pictures just got worse. And, well, the reason is pretty simple here, because there's simply just better options now in expanded. Being, well, expanded format, a much larger card pool, there's simply better cards to boost that extra damage, and you wouldn't want to spend your supporter on this. This results in a rating of 206, which is still above 2. It's not the worst rate we have seen out there, but it's not great either, to be honest. Which leaves us for a little more interesting rating here, which is uniqueness. And this is where Iris really would shine, in the sense that, well, she is a pretty unique card. I don't think there's any other card out there that does exactly the same. Of course, the things are similar in the sense of adding damage, but it's typically go by with card draw, or there's a fixed number of damage added. This one is variable in the sense that, well, in the beginning, it doesn't really do anything, but as the game progresses and your opponent becomes close and close to winning, then Iris becomes stronger and stronger, so it seems like a pretty nice comeback card, or a game finisher. Which here gives a nice score of 3.90, which is relatively high for uniqueness. Which leaves us with artwork finally. And here, well, people like the artwork. It is very colorful. It is very nice to look at. And with a mostly scored here of 4, giving a total average, in this case, of 4.16, Iris is redeemed a lot by the artwork of the card, which, well, it's a good, nice card to look at. I cannot say anything against that. And now, let's put it all together. Remember what we usually do here. We have all the 4 scores. They're weighed equally, 25 each, 25% each, and then we average the score out. In this case, it's 3.14. Now we can start thinking, how good is 3.14 when we're going to rank it towards all the other supporters that we have graded so far? Iris is number 8 in the row, so let's see where Irish comes in this scale here. It almost sounds like I'm saying Irish, but it is Iris, of course. So we have the top 4 here, and with her score, no, it's not a top 4, so let's figure out how far down we go. And actually, Iris will come in on 5th place with a score of 3.14, which is not too bad if you ask me. That is, well, perfectly fine. Still better than cards like Bianca and Sharon that we rated before, but not better than Juniper, Jets' Colors, and of course N. So no, not this time. Iris did not tip N off his throne, so N is still rated supreme. That brings us now for the bonus facts that you guys sent in, so let's see what you guys had to say about Iris. Well, yeah, she was a gym leader, I knew that. But it was fun that she became a champion later on. I did not know that in the beginning because, well, I did not pay attention maybe. And indeed a very good background story if you want to read into it. And one fun fact I really find interesting here is that it's the first champion to keep her Japanese name, which is, well, quite fun. And some said it not very used in TCG, which is, well, I partially would like to agree with. But it was still used, but let me know in what. I would like to hear if you guys actually played Iris in one of your decks and had some good experiences with playing the card. Let me know. And this brings us to the final thing of today's episode, which is, well, who's up next? And who is it? Well, it is the big guy, Lysander. Maybe Lysander can actually tip N off the throne. Let's see about that, but it's definitely an interesting card coming up next. With that said, thanks for watching today, and I hope you have a great day, and until next time.